Welcome to the Boom Boom Room, y'all, where there's no topic too big or small, where we talk about it all. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Boom Boom Room. I have EJ here, aka Voodoo, who's a paranormal investigator. He was on an episode, I think he was on episode, was it 2 or 3? I forget. Voodoo.
I think it was 3.
He was on episode 3, but he agreed to come back. He's a friend of mine. And so what you been up to, Voodoo? How have you been?
I've been good. I've been following the Boom Boom Room really close. I've watched, listened to at work.
Yeah.
Most of the episodes. Saw some in A Cup and UBV and Reese and them. I listened to, I try to listen to them at work, and everybody's doing such a great job. I think what you set out to do with this whole channel is really working out, because you're learning all kinds of stuff about, the guys we game with and stuff. It's very cool.
Oh yeah, man. That's what my goal with it is. People can say this and that and mean other things, but really deep down in my heart, I'm not worried about it blowing up. I just want people to, like me, get to know people in the community and other people. And when they watch it, it's something they can watch and be intrigued and say, well, dude, I didn't know that, I didn't know that about him. And, I want to touch on certain subjects that people don't really. There's nothing that ain't never been done before, but maybe the right questions ain't been asked. I don't know, but that's the reason I want to do it.
I've been gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been gaming with UBV for how long? I didn't know he was in mustache competitions. That's
really?
Learning stuff like that about the people you game with is really cool.
Yes, it's definitely, man, definitely, and just being a content creator, the people I've met and different content creators, I mean, and gaming community, podcast, crypto, it's just amazing, dude, the things that you learn just for talking to people. But how you been? You been doing good? How's things been going?
I've been doing good. I actually had an investigation this past Friday.
Really?
A friend of mine picked me up from work. I actually left my truck sitting at work, and it was about a 2-hour drive from work to get out there. Really old house, old, no basement floor. It was just a dirt floor in the basement.
Dang.
So that was, and hearing noises upstairs when nobody's upstairs, and knocking on the walls. Her son was afraid to sleep in his room.
Yeah.
Very basic, like when you think of haunted house stuff that you would think is happening. So yeah, I did that Friday. Have a ton of audio to go over. During the week it's hard. I can't do it at work. Work's just too noisy. And then when I get home, I'm making dinner. I'm trying to do all the stuff I don't do during the day while I'm at work. So I'll probably hammer on it this weekend.
Yeah, man, I bet it is hard. It's fun. It's hard to find time to do things, when you're working full time and stuff like that. And
yeah, because I ran 2 recorders. We were there for about 5 hours, so it's 10 hours of real-time audio I gotta go through.
Dang, that's a lot. It's tedious, I bet.
It's a labor of love, for sure.
Do you always find something, or is it hit and miss?
No, not always. It's hit and miss. The whole time we were there, we didn't experience none of the things she said. We were downstairs for most of the time, and not a footstep upstairs, no knocking, no banging. One of the people I was with spent a lot of time in the boys' room, and he didn't feel uncomfortable, didn't hear anything, nothing weird happened. So
yeah. So y'all didn't. So nothing at all happened. Anything at all?
Why we were there, in person, no.
Yeah.
So I'll have to, wait and see what goes on with the audio and stuff. See what happens. Super nice lady. She was upset about everything. She shed some tears and stuff. Obviously, she's upset about what's going on. So hopefully we can help her out. We'll probably go back out there again a couple weeks and
Well,
go over what happened and how we can help her.
what do you do, say, on a basic investigation if you do find out? Like, give me an example, like, I mean, it doesn't have to, any kind of example to kind of show me if you find out something, and what are you kind of, the steps that you go through?
Well, so like I'm listening to some audio and I hear something. One, I would go over normally the way I do an investigation, I'll always have a recorder on me. So one that's running no matter where I go. And if I pick something up in a room, I'll try to cross-reference it with another recorder to see if I can, to see if I caught it twice or not. If I can't, then I'll run it through an audio program. I use Audacity. I'll clip out the sound and I'll send it to everybody else that was there, not telling them what I think it is, and then if we come to a consensus that, yeah, that sounds pretty good, let's let the client know. If everybody doesn't agree on it, I don't pass it off as evidence.
Gotcha. Well, do you specialize in any certain part of the investigation, like you personally?
Not really. I'm on the people I work with. The people I work with right now, I have the most equipment. So I do most of the setup and takedown and stuff, cameras and audio equipment and interactive equipment. So I guess that way, yeah, kind of the technical part of it, I specialize in that, and the other people I work with are more, mediums and that kind of thing, where they walk in there and they can get a feel for a place and stuff like that.
Well, let me ask you this question: what's the hardest part about a paranormal investigating?
You know what? The hardest part about what we do is live people.
Yeah.
And because belief dictates truth. So what do I mean by that? Let's say somebody contacts me and they're having problems at their house. Hey, I'm having problems at my house. I hear doors opening and closing. I hear knocking on the walls. I hear all this. I know it's my dad. I can smell this cologne.
Yeah.
The voices I hear, I swear it's him. So I go, I set up all my equipment. Nothing happens that night. So I tell the client, hey, nothing happened. Let me go home and go over all my pictures, all my video, all my audio.
Yeah.
And let's see what I get. I get nothing at all. So I have to go back to this person and tell them, nothing happened. I'm sorry, I didn't get anything. So now this person is obviously upset. I don't think you did a good job. I don't think you believe me. You didn't do something right. I would like you to leave. So now I'm hurt because I wasn't able to help this person, right?
Yeah.
And now they're hurt, they're upset, they're angry.
Dang.
And all because my truth wasn't their truth, right? And in some cases, if people take it really personally, sometimes when we're heated, we hop on social media and all of a sudden you're typing out, so and so came to my house and they did a terrible job. They didn't believe me. And you know how social media is. Actually.
Oh man.
Something like that catches traction. I know in the first podcast we did, in the paranormal, credibility is everything.
Yeah.
You lose that, whether it's your fault or not, man, it is an uphill battle to get that back. And all of that, like I said, all of that transpired because my truth wasn't her truth. She wasn't lying.
Yeah.
She's experienced these things. She believes it's her dad. I'm not lying to her. I didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
So our truths are not the same. And so, yeah.
Dang. Yeah,
live people are the hardest thing to do. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, to me, my worst problem isn't not catching evidence. Because I told you it's not about catching evidence for me anymore. It's about helping people. And if I don't do that, I feel like I failed not only them, but myself. What could I have done better? Why didn't anything happen? So
Well, yeah, I bet that is probably, yeah, well, I can imagine that is the toughest part, you know. Do you think that a lot of times if something's going on and you don't catch it, do you think it's in their mind? Or is it just you're just not experiencing what they're experiencing?
This, this again, we're
Yeah,
there five,
yeah,
6, 7 hours. They're there
uh-huh,
every day, every hour that they're not at work. They're there when they're sleeping. They're
yeah,
there during the weekends. And the paranormal doesn't happen on cue. Like
exactly.
some people believe, well, you get strangers in the house and whatever might be there is in.
You there? Your audio cut out, Voodoo. Voodoo. Hold on, your
Yeah,
audio.
my remote died and
All
it
right,
cut out my.
that's okay. I hear
Yeah.
you now. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's rough, man. It really
yeah,
is. You
yeah,
get on somebody's house, nothing happens. Maybe I know some people believe that well, you're in there, they're not comfortable with you being in there, so they're not going to do anything, say anything, and
yeah. Yeah, I understand that. So do you think there's like when things happen, is like mostly friendly things going on, spirits, or do you think most of them's on the evil side?
it's probably a toss up, man. It's so weird because some people believe houses are haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Some people believe people can get haunted. Some people believe objects get haunted.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
chair, a box, whatever. I don't know. As long as I've been doing this, I think it would be arrogant for me to say what's true and what's not.
yeah,
Maybe it's none of it. Maybe it's all of it. And I think with the people I work with, and I kind of went over this the first time.
yeah.
I like to think of myself as a collector of information.
Mm-hmm.
I spend time at your location or your house. I do my due diligence to set up my equipment, to talk to you, to go over your stories, to listen and run all my equipment. And at the end, we take it all down. I go home, I go through it all as best I can.
Yeah,
And I present you at the end what I found or didn't find. So,
I got you. See, and I know
and
that.
again, as far as
Yeah.
good or evil, man, I don't know. I've been doing this for
Uh-huh.
almost 20 years. I personally don't think I've ever been anywhere where I thought, "Oh my God, man, that place is evil. I'm never going back."
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in a place like that. In fact, probably 80,
Yeah.
90%, 95% of the places I've been in, I don't think were haunted.
Yeah.
Because I think you can have. I hope this comes off as sensible. I think you can have activity in your house and have your house not be haunted.
Yeah.
I guess the best analogy I can come with is you can have water in your basement, but your basement's not flooded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people believe paranormal activity can be transient, so it's not always there. Sometimes it's not there. A lot of people believe hauntings can be residual, you
Yeah.
know, to
Yeah.
where it's going on whether you're there or not. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't interact with you. You can't interact with it. And then some people believe some hauntings are intelligent, where you can interact back and forth.
Yeah. There's a lot of different beliefs with that, like I probably don't believe some of it like you believe with my background, of growing up in a Christian household and then me being spiritual myself and going through, supernatural and spiritual things, I believe one thing, me personally, and I've had, I do, believe that people can get possessed. Now, does that mean every person that's acting weird is possessed? No, it could be a mental issue, and I do believe that houses can get haunted because of certain things that went on there, and I do believe the spirits can be attached, demonic spirits to, to objects. Now, as far as like me personally, like I said, I'm not ditching or putting down anyone's beliefs because I might I believe in cryptids, and the next person might laugh at me, because I've had experience with cryptids, but I believe that you cannot communicate with a friendly spirit. This is me. This is my personal beliefs. I believe that when they say that they're communicating with their father or mother or stuff like that, I don't think, me personally, I think it's a demon disguising themselves because they're called familiar spirits. You know what I mean? That's me personally. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to sit and argue with the next person and become enemies over it. But I don't know if you want to say exercise, but I've had some demonic stuff happen, and I've prayed it. I don't know the right words. Prayed it out of that area, and it never came back. And then I've prayed, and things came back because it was attached to other people, because they were doing stuff that they weren't supposed to, playing, with demonic things, and. I could run it out, but it'd come back. But anyway, that was resolved. But, it's just, like I said, different belief system. But I know we talked about this before. What would you actually do if you ever seen, like, a full-fledged demon? I mean, honest. Like, if a spirit's a demonic presence, if it just come in pretty well physical form in front of you, what would you do?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the first story I went over, or one of the stories we talked about last time. Before this happened to me, I always wondered what I would do if I actually saw a ghost standing there. I always wondered, what would I do? And then it happened, and I didn't do anything. All I did was look over. I'm like, oh, wow, that shouldn't really be standing there.
Yeah.
And I turned to the person with me and said, hey, I think I see. Nope, I see it over there. And then turned. So I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of, when I've had things happen to me, most of them I was calm about it, but cryptid things happen,
last couple of days. Yeah, the last couple of days, I was listening to podcasts with people who interviewed actual exorcists, and they said it's not like the movies. We don't go to somebody's house in the pouring rain and do exorcisms, and they're always done at a church.
Yeah.
And one thing I didn't know is America is the only country where to have an exorcism authorized, there has to be a physical and mental examination before.
Yeah. That's what I heard too.
I didn't know that. I learned that over the past couple of days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am not the greatest in faith, so I would never try to do something like that myself.
Yeah, I understand. No. I mean, I've seen things like that happen growing up, because I'm not putting down Pentecostal churches. When I got older and got spiritual, I come more non-denominational faith. But I grew up in these Pentecostal churches, and I'm not saying they're bad or nothing, but I've seen them that, they try to pray demons out of people, and they wasn't like holding them down and all that, but, and I think some of it, I'm not saying all of it, but I think some of it was mostly, mental issues, and, and because people actually have mental issues, and you just can't say, oh, they're demon possessed because they're acting that way, because you can get on a certain drug, man, and act weird, you know what I mean? You can take a certain chemical or chemical imbalance and reaction and act like you're a freaking, weirdo, and start crawling like you're demonic, So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it comes, like I said, it comes back to what you believe in faith, and me personally, I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in any kind of spirits, and I believe in like demonic presence, and I believe in angelic presence. I do believe in angels and stuff because I believe an angel saved me from one time. I had a car wreck, and I seen two angels when I got thrown out of a vehicle going about 65 miles an hour, and I should have been dead. So I've had things happen to me that I know that, that there was a good presence there, an angelic presence, and I really believe. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's kind of no in between. Me personally, I think there's angels and demons, but they could take many forms. But it's intriguing what you do. Have you ever went into like an old church? And
I went into a really old, like I want to say a building from the 1800s that was used as a church, and it was used by the Templars for something. I don't remember what, but it was an old chapel building.
Wow.
Here in Wisconsin that I got to go to.
Yeah, them old buildings intrigue me, dude. I'm telling you.
I love the old buildings. Just walking around through there is just, I love that.
And then
that's one of the.
Go ahead. I mean to interrupt you. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. It's besides spending time with, really good friends doing what we love to do together. It's just like I got to, like, this isn't going to mean anything to people who don't live in Wisconsin, but like I got to like the Riverside Theater and our big public library, our public museum. I've got to be in places when they were closed that a lot of people don't get to go to, and I just love that, man.
Yeah, it's something to look at the architect, because I'll look at a brick and I'll think, man, okay, this was built in 1876. Who built this? What was going on in his head when he was building it? Where did he live? I mean, it just intrigues me. Everything, the story behind it. I love thinking about stuff and going to old buildings, and because it's amazing, the architect. I seen this in Kansas. You have to look it up on the internet. There's a place it's called in Lucas, Kansas, and it was called the Garden of Eden. And I think this guy was either in the late 1800s or early 1900s. He was an old man, and he was like in his 70s or 80s, and he had like a woman. Wife was like in the 20s, okay, and he built all this stuff around his house, like these concrete sculptures, and done it all himself, and then he built in the basement some kind of device that when kids would come in his yard, he was intrigued, that he would speak, or he had like this little ghoul-looking concrete thing that was waving outside, and he'd get in the basement and like a megaphone, and he would scare them. And on the fence, he put concrete nails, all on his fence, so nobody would sit on it and watch him while he was working. I know that was weird, but when he died, this is what's weird. His wife was buried under him, and when he died, he wanted to be in a glass coffin, and he didn't want to, no matter whenever it was, hundreds of years, he didn't want nobody to pay more than $5 to see him. Okay. So his wife is buried under him in a different casket. And he was a big, he's a mason. He got all the mason signs, and he's in a glass casket. I went and seen him, and he's got a little statue of water, like a pitcher of water right here, and then over here he had something to do. Okay, if he goes to hell, he'll have a drink of water. And then the other thing he had, but I seen him in the coffin, and what happened, they didn't know in the 70s, it had a hairline crack. And the air got in there, but when I looked at him, he was mummified, and it was kind of like white, looked like mold on him, I guess he couldn't open it, and do anything. It probably will decay if they open it, but they fixed a crack. But I went and seen him in there, and he was like, just like 70 or 80 years he's been in that casket. And that was kind of a freaky thing. But yeah, if look it up. It's called the Garden of Eden in Lucas, Kansas. It's very intriguing, the backstory of how he built all these things, concrete statues going all around his whole yard, and to be that old and do it all himself. It was kind of weird. Like little things like that intrigues me, and to see shit like that.
This will be the audience participation part of the show, okay?
All right.
And again, I don't lie about the paranormal. I don't exaggerate things. I don't make stuff up. So when I'm done, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. And people who listen to this podcast, I really want to hear some different thoughts down in your comment section about
all right.
This all happened in a span of about 24 hours, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting in I live in a really crappy small studio apartment, just one room and a bathroom. So I'm sitting in my gaming chair, and I think I was either gaming or watching YouTube on TV. And my bathroom is almost directly in line with the door you go onto the balcony. And I see this orb with my eyes, not through a camera or anything, like the size of maybe twice the size of a softball, right? It moves from the bathroom, through my small room I live in, and then goes through the door to go outside. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, huh. And I just figure, maybe it's my eyes, I was gaming for a couple hours. Maybe my eyes are doing something weird. But it looked like, just a ball of energy to.
Yeah.
The only way I can explain it. So, I lay down that night. Right outside my door, Ashes, I hear this noise. Think of like a low scream mixed with like a witch's laugh.
Jeez.
Mixed with like crying, but like ugly crying, Jumble all those together, and that's the noise I heard. And it sounded like it was right outside my door. So obviously I get up, I get out of bed and go to the door, and we're talking 12 steps at the most. Like I said, small studio. As soon as my hand touches the handle, it stops. So I open the door, and, I figured, man, maybe there's an owl there outside or something. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. What the heck?
Yeah.
So I lay back down. The next night I lay down, and I wake up, and maybe a foot above my body is this lady. She's got, think of a skeleton with skin. I know that sounds weird, but everything's sunken in, and you can see all the outlines of bones and stuff, and long, nasty, greasy white and black hair. And I have the distinct feeling this lady's trying to chew my face off, right? Jeez. And I can't move in the bed, but I feel the heat of her breath, and I feel the being pressed down into the bed. And I'm like, what is going on? And like I said, I've been doing this for a while, so I know what paralysis is, and I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah.
And this didn't feel like that. And all of a sudden, with everything I had in me, I pop up, and it just kind of, disappears. So yeah, that's my goofy story.
Wow.
And like I said, all that stuff happened in the space of about 24 hours.
Gee, well.
And I shared a story with someone else who's like you, believes in cryptids and folklore and stuff. And she said, "Oh, yeah, that sounds like a boo hag." I said, "A what?" She said, "Oh, yeah, it's a boo hag. I can help you out with that." So she makes me this charm. It's got a little vial of salt in it, and there's a cross on it. And there's a bunch of different charms. You just slip this in between your mattress and your box spring, and you'll be fine. And since that day, nothing's ever happened in my apartment.
Man, that is wow.
So what do you think?
Wowzers.
Like I said, at the end of my story, I want to get your opinion on what all that was, and like people in the comments.
Well, what did you do right before that? Did you go do an investigation?
No, it hadn't followed an investigation. It was just a random weird thing.
Dude, I mean, you know, it's a demon. I mean. Now here's the deal with the orbs. Okay, I've seen orbs that are famous, and you look them up. Joplin lights. I've seen them in Joplin, Missouri. You can look it on the internet. I've seen the Marfa lights in Texas, and I've seen orbs in that house that I was in like about 3 years ago. A lot of demonic stuff happened. I was like messing with the phone, and then I looked down and it was filming. I don't know, we know what it was, then there was orbs in it, you know, and it was legit orbs. And a lot of these stories that I've been really deeply diving into cryptics in the last year, you know, and become friends with a few guys that run podcasts, and there's sometimes orbs, you know, when they'll see, you know, a Sasquatch and stuff like that, and dogmen, there'll be orbs. So I don't know what the orbs are. Like I said, some kind of ball of energy, already some kind of presence. I don't know. But as far as the woman goes, you know, it's just straight up to me, 100% a demon. You know, it's some kind of demon that's there to torture you and just, you know, get in your head. I've heard of stories of like in the woods, like babies crying, like that, laughter, you know, and they're trying to lure you out there. Some say it's a Bigfoot or dogmen or some kind of cryptic to, you know, lure you out there. And I had an incident like that happen one time in the woods that I forgot about till like 5 days ago, that me and my brother and a couple of my relatives, we'd go down and lived in Oklahoma, not far from here, and they had this, we call it Round Mountain, back towards the Arkansas bottoms. And it was like this big hill, but you know, it was fun when you was a teenager to take a girl out there, turn the lights out, you know, and scare them and run up this hill, and then you could overlook everything, the river. And we was there one night, and we heard laughter. I mean, it started out like one person laughed, you know, laughing like going, hoo, 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 hoo. And then it was like about six people laughing, and it was echoing, and that was some scary shit, you know. So, me personally, I like to hear people's opinion in the comments, guys. What do y'all think about it? Let's hear your opinion. What do you think it is? But bottom line is, I don't know what the orbs are, but as far as the woman, it's just a demonic presence. You know, it's a demon. You know,
and like when I was telling that, as far as sleep paralysis, I know what that is.
Yeah, I've had that many a times.
Your brain wakes up before your body does, and you can't move, and sometimes you'll see stuff.
Now, see, I think the opposite of that, but go ahead. Mm-hmm.
What made this different is, like I told you, man, I could feel the heat of her breath. I could almost, you know, it smelled very, very earthy, I guess, is, you know, like if you're digging for worms, that wet dirt smell.
Ooh, shit, man, that's freaking creepy.
That stuff never happens.
That's when I get creepy, dude.
But I vividly remember all of that, the way her hair looked, the smells and stuff. And, oh my God!
Did it scare you?
It was unpleasant.
Did it scare you?
That time it actually did.
Yeah.
I couldn't fall back to sleep, and I was unnerved. The lady I told you about who made the thing for me, I contacted her right away because there's a super nice person that does our cleaning at work.
Yeah.
And she was asking me, hey, does anything ever happen at, you know, an apartment? You bring stuff home with you? And I told her, well, since I started, I'm prone to really horrific nightmares.
Yeah.
ever since I started, like for the last 20 years, I get some really, really bad, vivid nightmares. But as far as that one instance, I don't have, weird stuff going on, lights flashing in my apartment or
Yeah.
stuff moving around. That just doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
Because like I think we went over that in the first podcast.
Uh-huh.
I learned how to do certain, learn certain prayers and certain precautions to take. And we did it again this past Friday, where before we went in,
Uh-huh.
you pick up a stick or a stone before you enter a location. You say a little prayer, you keep it in your pocket. Then when you leave, you drop it on the ground.
Gotcha.
And it's symbolic of leaving everything there when you.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. Yeah, the sleep paralysis, dude. I've had that happen a few times.
It's scary. If you don't know what it is, it can be scary.
Well, I think that it's half and half, I think that it is like your mind, like you say, it's just something to do with your mind. And I think that it's something demonic can happen, because I've had it happen to me. I've had, different demons, come to me and stuff like that, and see some stuff. So, I'm kind of half and half on you on that. You know what I'm saying? That's like when it comes to if somebody's fully possessed, if they're mental. No, sometimes people have mental issues, and then some are possessed. Sleep paralysis, I've had a demonic presence actually touch me, and I'll tell a story. I don't know if I told it last time or not. I might have. I was in a hotel in Texas, and sober, I always say that to make sure I'm sober. And I felt something in the room, I went to sleep paralysis. I couldn't move it. I could barely see, and it seemed like these three things. I couldn't see the whole thing. I only seen like from the waist down. It was about 2 foot tall. It was three little imps is what I call them. And I started praying, I said, God, let me wake up. And, me, this is what I think, other people, me personally. And, when God talks to me, so when I pray subconsciously, sometimes, God, I'm not walking around and God's talking to me all the time, or nothing like that. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying. And I said, what is it? And the guy is like, the voice told me in my head, you can't handle it. Other words, he was telling me that I can't handle to see everything. Because I believe that our mortal minds cannot handle the spiritual world on a full scale, because we're flesh, and we're spirit, but yeah, our mortal minds can't handle the whole full spectrum of the spirit world. And that's what I believe. So I went back to sleep. I got praying. Well, next, I'm half awake. Happened again. I felt the worst demonic presence. I felt something over the top of me, and I felt something touch me on my chest because I was sleeping with my shirt off, And my cousin was over in the bed asleep. I never did wake him up. And then I started praying, what is that? And then I heard that voice way louder, said, you can't handle this. And then it showed me it was a long red, kind of like the movie Legion, You ever seen that with Tom Cruise? I think that's what it's called. It was a red demon arm, and he had like about 4-inch solid black fingernail that touched my chest, So finally I broke out of the sleep paralysis, and I went into the bathroom, and I prayed for about an hour. I got the Bible and started praying, but and then it didn't have nothing else happened that night. But I do believe that, some say, well, man, your mind was playing tricks on you, this and that, and this and that. No, I believe, I'm not going to sit here and, like tell everybody what I think, because people will think you're crazy, man, when you tell certain things. But that did actually happen to me. I'm not ashamed of it. And
like that story I told you.
Yeah,
all that stuff that happened in 24 hours. I'm not out telling everybody I know that story.
Yeah,
it sounds ridiculous.
Not really, not to me it don't. But
again, like I said, I would never make anything up, because I respect what I do too much to fake stuff or start telling stories of stuff that never happened. I respect the people I work with, and I respect when I
Yeah,
do too much for that.
exactly, man.
That was crazy, man.
That was a crazy story, dude. To see something like that, because when I've the few demonic presence I seen, I told you before, when I seen one, it was like a split second. I seen it, but I seen in that split second, I seen everything, the whole form, and it was like wearing white, and it was real skinny. It was a woman, and she had black, greasy hair, and I could barely see her face. She had pale white skin. Looked like the Grudge, you know. Yeah, but she was, yeah, that's one of the demonic presence I see. Then I see some nasty ass demons. I'll get into it some other time. Some big ass. See one about 7 foot tall one time. But like the cryptids, man, I'll talk to people about it. Look, I'll be honest with you, Voodoo. I didn't believe into it until, you know, I had a encounter, which was about 2011, 2012, and I didn't physically see it. They call it Class B encounter. You know, they got cryptid community in Class A, I think, is when you physically see something. But I didn't think people was crazy when it happened to people, but I didn't understand it. But I fully believe, you know, when I had, you know, a little minor encounter. And so some people are like believers that don't see, and then some people are believers until they have an encounter. And I was kind of a believer because of the you know, my spiritual background, but I didn't know exactly. I still don't. People don't know exactly what Bigfoot and all that is now. They don't know. Yeah. And but this episode right here probably come after that. My episode dropping Friday. You know, I have a friend of mine, the newly made friend, super good guy named Daniel. He's for some reason, I don't know, he reminds me of you, your voice or something. For some reason, I don't know why. But I think I seen a picture of y'all kind of look a little bit the same. But anyway, he's a super cool dude. He's from Wisconsin. He's an ex-military, a vet, and he's got the Cryptid podcast. And I've met a few other people through him, and super good community, man. He's from Wisconsin. I think he's from Michigan. You know, I think I think he's from Michigan. I thought he was from Wisconsin, but it was from Michigan because I was watching one of his shows today that he dropped. I think he was where he had his encounters. So I hate to quote things and not be right. I think it was in Washington or Oregon, something like that. I know I should get my facts straight, but I've slept, you know, so.
And look, we did an investigation here at a place called Turner Hall. It's actually right across the street from where the Milwaukee Bucks play basketball at the Five Surf Forum. Turner Hall is an older building. They do small music venues, and in the basement is the longest running, oldest gym or something. There's a rock wall and stuff. And I had set up cameras. It's an L-shaped hallway. I set up cameras to shoot down both ways. And I was down there by myself because I was just going down there to adjust the camera angles or whatever. And as I'm walking, I hear behind me someone go, "Hey." And I turn around, I figure it was one of the other people. There's nobody there. When stuff happens like that to you, it changes the way you think about stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I know the difference between, you know, machinery and somebody right behind you going, "Hey." You know, "Hey's" a spoken word, and stuff like that happens. It just changes you, you know. Yeah. And I would imagine people who encounter cryptids and or people who experience miracles from God, stuff like that changes your perception.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Think, you know.
It definitely, dude. My first cousin, his grandma, when I was 14, she was coming to see my grandma, and we had property, a bunch of relatives. It's still there, but a lot of them, you know, passed away. And she passed away, had a heart attack right in front of me. I was 14, kind of, you know, it kind of shook me up a little bit, you know, just fall dead, you know. And later on, like a year later, it was in July, and you can imagine in Oklahoma and Arkansas in July how hot it is. So we're walking. It's probably about 300 yards this dirt road where we all own this property. Each one of us got a, either a RV or a mobile home or modular home. So we're walking and by his grandma's, and we're walking, and all of a sudden, this is no lie, Voodoo, it turned freezing cold. This was probably about 8 at night, and you know how it is in July and August. It is still hot. It is still burning up. It got so cold that I stopped at the same time. Me and him both stopped. When we looked over at each other, it's like in the movies, it's the same time when we were blowing smoke. And both of our mouths open. And I said, "Do you feel that?" He said, "F yeah, I feel that." And then we took a couple steps and it just went away. And then I stepped backwards. I said, "Man, did that just happen?" He said, "Yeah, we got freezing cold, started blowing smoke." That happened to me. It was just not far from where his grandma passed. I don't know if it had anything to do with that or what. I mean, maybe it was a weather phenomenon. I don't know. But that's one of the freakiest things ever happened.
And I would never, ever get on somebody's case because they don't believe what I do.
Yeah.
Like the comments in the comment section about the story I told.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting somebody to say, "Well, this was wrong with your eyes.
Yeah.
Probably an animal outside, and you had sleep paralysis, or you were still dreaming." And that's fine.
Yeah.
You have every right to believe and think that.
Yeah.
And I am not the person to tell you shouldn't. That's not my job. But again, all I can tell you is what I thought and what I felt, and real or not, that's what happened. And like we started about how your belief affects your truth. Like, say me, you, and Sauce are all outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see something whiz by in the sky, and you elbow me, and you're like, "Dude, boys, UFO."
Yeah.
And I look at it, and I'm like, "Ashes, man, that's a plane. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And Sauce says, "No, on the way here, I was listening to the radio. They said tonight's going to be a really good night to see the passing meteor shower." And the men in black show up, and they grab all three of us, throw us in a van.
Yeah.
And they take us away, and they give us all a polygraph test.
Yeah.
Odds are we would all pass.
Yeah.
But two of us, or maybe even three of us, are actually lying.
Yeah.
But we believe that's what they saw.
Exactly.
And doing what I do, I think you have to be so conscious of people's beliefs and not to tread all over that, because that's not fair.
No, it's not, dude. It's all right to have a civil discussion. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's why in certain situations it's not good to bring up certain subjects.
Yeah,
I think
politics or religion is the easiest way to fight.
Yeah, and like
like in the paranormal, the big joke is the easiest way to start a fight in the paranormal is to bring up orbs, because you get 50% of the people who say all orbs are dust, insects, water droplets, moisture in the air, and the other people know it's spirit energy. So we just all got to learn to accept each other's beliefs, and as long as it ain't hurting nobody, just
Yeah, exactly, dude. We've got to respect each other, and that's just like somebody that comments on some of my gaming, they'll put me down. "Man, you suck." I'll just laugh at them. I won't pay no attention. As long as they're not, cussing somebody out, get in there and, put down my friends, be racial or something, that's when you cross the line. But if somebody wants to put me down, that's fine. I just take it, so.
Yeah. And back to that original story, that was hypothetical. That's never happened to me.
Yeah.
But if that did happen to me, I couldn't be mad at that person because I didn't catch evidence of their dad. You have to be, even though, they're saying, "Oh, you did a bad job, you didn't believe me, this and that," and then they go badmouth you place.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at them for it.
No.
It's just what they believe, and you just got to take your... I've heard, over the years, man, what you're doing is the devil's work, and or a lot of people, I had to make my Facebook private because a lot of people, no matter what I was talking about, it could be sports or the weather. "Oh, dude, you believe in ghosts? Shut the F up. What are you talking about?"
Yeah. A lot of
So,
disrespect from
if
people.
that's what you believe, that's fine. But you're not gonna jump on my. I don't belittle you. I don't.
That's
You're
right.
not gonna do that to me.
There's a lot of trolls out there, dude. A lot of
Oh,
trolls.
I can imagine
Yeah.
like you guys with your channels, man. I can't even imagine some of the comments you guys
I
have.
just let them roll, dude.
Even someone like Sauce, man.
Yeah, I've seen some
I never
sauces.
swears. He's always pleasant.
Yeah.
I can imagine he gets horrible comments.
You know, I've done it a couple of times. You know, it's Daisy by the fire. I'm going to tell you this right here. Out of any community I've like been a part of, like on Facebook, I think the Daisy's the most toxic, disrespectful community there is. I shared his Daisy by the Fire a few times on like 10 different pages. Man, they were saying some rough stuff, dude. You know, and I knew that I was going to get it, but there was a lot that hearted it and liked it, you know. So
we talked about Ark. Ark is the same way, dude. Oh my God, the toxicity.
My son says it is. My son, that's why he quit playing it. He told me.
Yeah. And then so there's the people. There's the PC players who hate the console players. Then there's the PvP players.
You hate the PvP players. Yep.
And then oh my God.
You don't know how I hear.
I play single player. I rented a server a couple times, but then only to play with friends and stuff. I would never play a PvP game. Like I don't know how Sauce does it, you know.
No, neither.
Because I couldn't do. I just can't. I go in enough buildings and stuff that have enough bad energy. I don't need to be getting that.
No, dude. No, but Sauce is a good guy. He knows how to handle it, man. Because with his beliefs and stuff, you know, he's got a good heart. He's he knows how to handle them. He's a cool, you know. He keeps his cool a bit. He's human like us, but he knows. I mean, because the way he believes and just you know being a Christian, and you know, and then you gotta get situations to tell about your faith and stuff. You're gonna get attacked, man. That's like anything else. I don't argue with people online and Facebook or nothing like that. I'm keyboard warriors, you know. If you believe that, that's fine. You know, I'm not gonna argue with you and stuff. But hey,
and I know.
Go ahead.
Oh, we wrapping up?
Yeah, I was going to ask you got anything else you want to say before we wrap up? Man, well, I looked over. We've went for almost an hour. I thought it was 20 minutes. I did it every time.
Oh, God, it is almost 8:30. The people who listen to this who might not be part of our Daisy/State of Decay community, what got me started, man, is in the span of 3 years, I lost my dad. Mm-hmm. I got divorced, and to the day, October 22nd, the year following my divorce was the day my brother passed away. Man. And I was in a bad spot, man, like mentally. Like bad thoughts in your head. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know.
I don't want to get your video taken down.
No, I know exactly. I've been there, dude. But, I've been there.
So I started watching gaming videos, Neebs Gaming. I don't know if you know.
Oh yeah, I know who Neebs are.
I started watching their Ark stuff. I'm like, oh wow, that sounds. And then I started playing Ark, and then I met someone, and we were playing Ark together. And then you can only hunt and trap dinosaurs so often. Yeah. So we were like, she was on PC, I was on Xbox. What else can we play cross platforms like that? She said, well. So we're Googling, and I'm like, oh, State of Decay, that doesn't sound too bad. So that's how I ended up on State of Decay 2, and I started watching content creators, I think Prime and I don't remember who else, but I think Prime and maybe Bundy maybe were the first two people. But then, then I started watching more people, and that's how I ended up in our community, dude. And like I said, Saturday when I was the Saturdays, just the hour or so I get to spend with the rest of the boys gaming, dude. I know it's just a game, dude, but it means a lot to me,
It really does, dude.
Hanging out with everybody and being able to meet everybody, dude. It's just so cool.
Just like people I've met and friends like you, it's just countless. Like UBV talking, man. I'm the same way. I was kind of down in my life and found everyone. It's been 4 or 5 years ago, and it's really helped me.
When I left Saturday, when I was getting out of the chat so Norm could take my place.
Yeah.
I heard UBV said, "Man, Voodoo's the greatest." Dude, just those words, man, it made me smile, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he doesn't know me he only knows me from gaming, but to hear that kind of thing from, you know, well, it's cool, dude.
It's good.
We have such a great community, and I hope more people join. Because
definitely, dude. Definitely, we got a great community. Countless of people, dude. I can't count on. I cannot count on my two hands of the friends I've made, and the stress it takes off you to game, you know, if it's an hour or two, and to meet people and hear kind words. You know, I said the other day, dude, it hit me hard. It doesn't. One kind word could change someone's whole day. You know. One kind word, and you know, it's good that we've got a positive community that lift each other up. And exactly. You know, when somebody gets on my video and you know, or live stream, and they'll comment, "Man, I really enjoyed that." You know, that means a lot. You know what I mean? If it's one person, because it keeps you going, it makes it worth it. Because I'm not out here looking for fame and fortune, dude. If you're gonna start YouTube and you think you're gonna come rich, something's wrong with you. But you know, some people do. You know, some people got the luck, and there's people in our community that are gonna blow up, dude. And you know, and Sauce is one of them. He's on the road. Sauce is a good guy. He's a master storyteller. And I'm rooting for everybody in the community. It's Sauce. Exactly. He's got that formula. And he's
one of the to kind of end off here.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows of all time was Supernatural.
Yeah.
Because of the bond of Sam and Dean, you know, the brothers, and with my brother being gone, I missed that something fierce.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my favorite quotes from that show is Dean's at the bar and he's with this with the King of Hell, a guy named Crowley. He says to him that family doesn't end in blood, but it doesn't start there either.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about you know, yourself and A Cup and Sauce, man. You guys are just family that I don't get to see every day.
Yeah. Good people, man. Really good people. You know, and I know even though all are different backgrounds, you know, beliefs, you know, color of our skin, whatever, we're all friends and we all respect each other and stuff. But hey, Voodoo, I really do appreciate you agreeing to come back on another episode. And
absolutely.
And maybe next time you go through an investigation, you got some more stories, just hit me up and I'll have you back on here.
I got a really huge one coming up in May.
Okay.
At Ashmore Estates. That's further south into Illinois. It'll be the furthest I've been away from Wisconsin. And like if you search Ashmore Estates on YouTube, there's a ton of videos of people who've been there. So
Ashmore State. Yeah, I'm going. Okay, I'll look it up.
Ashmore, yep, just ASHMORE. Okay. And I'll be there May the weekend of Memorial Day. I'll be there.
Sweet.
And I'll try to get some pictures to share with the community, and I am sure I'll have stories after that one.
Yeah, if you got some pictures, man, send them to me now. I'll include them in this video. Because the podcast, so Daniel's the Cryptic, he sent me videos and pictures that will be in the video. It's going to be...
I know I got pictures from the haunted school I did up in Wisconsin. I'll try to find some of those and send you some of those, and I'll kind of go through my phone and see what I got for you. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no rush on them, but yeah, send them to me and stuff. That would be really cool. But anyway, everybody out there,
I appreciate you guys watching this. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed, if you want to. But comment on this video and share it out, guys, so more people can enjoy these sit downs with my friends and other people. I'm really enjoying doing this. I'm doing it for you guys out there, but I appreciate it. Until next time, guys, peace out.